So you want to start the keto diet, but you think you have to have as much money as the King of England to get started? In this video, I'm going to show you why you don't, what you can eat, and how everything, with the exception of one, is only $1.25 a piece. And so I decided to challenge myself to eating only those things for 84 hours. Let me show you what I did. So the Dollar Tree is a great place to find a lot of inexpensive items, but I wondered, could you do keto at Dollar Tree? Yes you can. So I went to Dollar Tree and picked out a ton of foods, which I'm going to show you in just a second. With the exception of one thing, everything was $1.25. And I was able to put together enough meals for 4 days and spend less than 30 bucks.
Now, if you've stuck around and watched the video this far, make sure you stick around till the end because I'm going to show you some ancient techniques lost over time to make 2 of these dishes in seconds.
So you can do keto, and you can do keto cheap. Is it going to be your top shelf, grass-fed, pasture-raised, filtered air breathing, hand-selected artisan small batch steaks? No. But it is going to be cheap. It is going to help you reach your goals. So let me show you all the things I bought for these 4 days, and I'm going to show you how I made each one of them and how you can eat cheap and do keto. So first I wanted to show you my receipts. I ended up having to go back here 3 times because I was thinking about some things I wanted to make with this, and I was like, oh, I can't use butter because they don't have butter there. They got some crappy margarine, but I sure wasn't going to use that. So I had to go buy and get some coconut oil. I had to get some pickles. But if you take these receipts, that one's $18.09. The only item that's on here, I'll show you that in a minute, are these sliced steaks for 3 bucks. Everything else is $1.25. So you can do this really, really cheap. And there's another $1.25. But the total of all 3 of these trips was $25.59. And that's going to last me 3.5 days. Well, really 4 days, but I don't eat breakfast. So let's just call it 84 hours, and that's 3.5 days. So let me show you all the frozen foods that I bought from there first. So from the frozen section, I picked up these ribeye steaks, of course. I picked up this bacon. I picked up some sausage, some cauliflower, and then my big splurge, my $3 item, was these Steak-umed sliced steaks. So $3, but well worth it. 9 ounces of meat. I mean, that's a great deal for anybody's budget. So now let's go and see what I got from the cold section. From the cold section, I picked up some ham trimmings. I picked up some regular deli shaved smoked ham, some mild cheddar cheese, and some bologna. If y'all had never had a fried bologna, I'm going to show you that in a minute. Just like the fried bologna sandwich, but without the bread. So it's just the bologna and the cheese, which are the best 2 parts of it anyway. And now I'm going to show you what I got from the regular pantry section. So from the pantry section, I got some almond plant-based beverage, which is almond milk, but it's unsweetened, so that was great. I got a can of this deluxe white chicken. I got a can of white albacore tuna. I'm sorry, I was just trying to be fancy. Some white albacore tuna and some hamburger dill chips. I got some of these Chop House bites, which is some beef jerky, but it was the one with the lowest amount of carbs that they had. Just 2 grams of carbs, no added sugar, 1 gram of dietary fiber for a net 1 carb in that. I got some of this seasoning because I figured everybody would have salt and pepper, but I wanted to get something from there for $1.25. This complete seasoning is going to be great. I got some coconut oil for the fat because they don't have butter there. They got all kind of crappy margarines, just junk. So I would not eat those, but I got some coconut oil. And I got another Cajun seasoning. I got some sardines and Louisiana hot sauce. And then unfortunately I couldn't make my mayonnaise, so I had to get this mayonnaise, but good thing about it, it is made with cage-free eggs, which may or may not be a good thing. But the good news is there's no added sugars to it. So even though it's got this soybean oil, which I do not like, I don't like the inflammatory oils, but for the purpose of this video, I got this just to show you that you can eat on a budget and still eat keto. So that's what we have. Now I'm going to show you how I made the meals using these ingredients. And one more note about the seasonings. They did not have the pink salt in stock, but they do have it. And I'll show you the picture of that, as well as all the other spices that they have. They've got a great selection of spices there, as you can see. And I'm going to use the pink salt in a couple of these just because you can get it there. So I'll show you a couple recipes that have that, but most of them I'm just going to use this. Now the first thing we're going to make from Dollar Tree is a cauliflower mash, because everybody knows when you start keto, you got to make everything out of cauliflower. When I started, I was trying to make chocolate chip cookies, ice cream, all the stuff out of cauliflower. Failed miserably, but a cauliflower mash is great. So I'm going to take cauliflower. I'm going to use some of the almond milk, the cheese, mayonnaise for a little bit of fat, and this Badia Complete seasoning. And I'm going to show you how I put it together. Now the first thing I'm going to do is cook this cauliflower. And the stovetop directions I don't really like because you got to put it in boiling water. And so that's just going to make it a little different texture to what I'm looking for. So I think out of all of these, I'm going to use the microwave instructions. So I'm going to put it in a microwave safe dish, 2 to 3 tablespoons of water, cover, and cook it for 7 to 15 minutes. And then I'll check out how it looks. I don't know what happened to the lid to this thing, but I'm just going to put this one on there. It's a little bigger than it should be, but I think it's going to be fine. So I cooked this for 7 minutes, and I just want to make sure it's fork tender. So what's that mean? When you can easily stick a fork into it like that, that's fork tender. I'm going to drain off all the excess water. I'm going to put it into a pot, and we're going to mix it up. So I'm just going to take my cauliflower and put it in this pot. I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of mayonnaise. I probably have about 3 tablespoons of cheese here. I'm going to put in 2 of them. The other one I'm going to save to top it with. I'm going to mix in a little bit of this almond milk. I'd say probably about a 1/4 cup to start with. Then I'm going to mix in about 2 tablespoons of the seasoning. And I'm just going to take my potato masher that I don't use for potatoes. I'm just going to mash this up. Make sure we got a pretty good consistency. It's going to be a little bit liquidy, but we're going to cook it down. And so I'm going to cook this on a medium to medium low for 4 or 5 minutes, just until some of that liquid has a chance to absorb and these flavors get together. Now if you want more of a smoother texture than this, I'm making this a rustic style to go with my fancy steakhouse dinner. You can also throw this in a Ninja like I use, either the small blender, the Ninja IQ that I've got a link for down below, or a regular Ninja if you like a little smoother texture. So we're just going to taste this for seasoning, and then adjust the seasoning, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So this is what you're going to need to put together these steaks. You're going to need your ribeye steak, and of course the Dollar Tree has the best you can get for $1.25. You're going to need some Himalayan pink salt, and they do have the pink salt at Dollar Tree also. If you're going strict Dollar Tree keto, they've got it. They've also got peppercorns, because I like the fresh cracked pepper. But if you're strict Dollar Tree keto, you can use this Butcher Boy coconut oil. And if you haven't seen my $1.25 steak video, I'm going to put a link for it right up there in the corner and also in the description. I like to serve this with a little bit of this mashed cauliflower. And you get all that buttery goodness down there. It's going to help add to that flavor. I'm going to top it with a little bit of cheese on the cauliflower, and then just a little bit of this seasoning just around the plate. Now this next Dollar Tree meal is going to be super easy. All we're going to use is bologna, some coconut oil, and some cheddar cheese. If you've never had a fried bologna sandwich, check this out. And I decided I'm going to use a little bit of this Cajun seasoning too. So I got 4 pieces of the bologna with these little red rings removed. I've got this cheese. I've got this coconut oil. I'll show you how to put it together. First thing I'm gonna do is just go around the bologna. Just cut little lines like this. So what happens if you fry it, it's gonna wanna curl up. Now a lot of people will just cut 4 slits in it. Since I'm putting the cheese in the middle, I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way around and just cut the slits in it. Now I get my pan ready. So I have my skillet heating up over a medium heat. I'm just gonna take about a tablespoon of this coconut oil and put right in the pan. Now once that's melted down pretty good, I'm gonna check it with my water trick. Just make sure it's hot enough, and then go in with 2 pieces of the bologna in the bottom. And we'll fry that for a couple minutes. Then after that's fried for just a couple minutes, or maybe a minute, I'm going to take the other one and put it over on the side. I want one of them to be a little crispier than the other. Now when it looks about like that, you flip it over. I'm going to throw some of this cheese on here. And I'm going to top it with another piece. Just press that down real good. I want that cheese to start to melt a little bit and stick these together. Now just check it, and once the other side gets like this, I flip it over. So you've got the 2 pieces on one side, 1 piece on the bottom. I'm going to fry this for just a little bit, flip it back over, and add this other piece. So that's what the other piece should look like. We flip it, add the final piece, and I'm going to flip it over again. We're just going to cook this, let that cheese melt a little bit, and I'll take it off and show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take this off the heat. I'm going to plate it up right here. I'm just going to sprinkle it with a little bit of this Cajun seasoning. Cut it open, show you what it looks like. It's going to be some ooey gooey, cheesy goodness. Now the next meal I'm going to make for this Dollar Tree Keto Challenge is a ham salad. So I'm going to use this deli shave smoked ham. I'm going to use the ham trimmings. I'm going to use some of these hamburger dill chips. Now normally I would use the sugar-free sweet relish or the sugar-free bread and butter pickles, but they don't have those at Dollar Tree, so I'm going to use these. I'm going to use some of this complete seasoning, and I would use some mustard normally, but I didn't buy any there, so I can't use it. And I'm going to use some of this real mayo. I'm going to go ahead and chop up the smoked ham and the ham trimmings, and I'll put it together. Now I do want to show you one thing about this. Right on the front, it says it's cured with salt, white sugar, brown sugar, sodium nitrate, and sodium nitrite. But if you look at the back, by the time that curing process is done, for half this pack, there's only 1 gram of carbs left and no sugar left after the curing process. So you don't have to be scared of this. If you've never had the country ham before, it's salty. All right, so check this out. I've chopped up the hams. I went ahead and chopped up 8 of those pickles, and I've also got 2 teaspoons of the pickle juice in there. Hey, don't tell anybody. They'll all be doing that. I'm going to put some of this mayonnaise in and some of this complete seasoning. Go ahead and sprinkle this over the top. Get a nice base of flavor there. And go in with a nice, so that's probably about 3 tablespoons of that mayonnaise. And then I'm going to dump in the pickles and the pickle juice. So let me stir this up and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So I mixed it up and tasted it. And I decided to go in with also a little bit of this Cajun style spicy seasoning. I'm really kind of missing the mustard in there. So if you go to Dollar Tree to get you some good keto stuff, Go ahead and get some mustard and squirt about a teaspoon of that in instead. Or just do both. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings either way. Either way, it's gonna be delicious. I like to put this in the fridge and let it chill for about an hour. And then eat it. So if you like videos about how to do keto on a budget, make sure you're subscribed, and anytime I do one of these, you'll know about it. So for my next budget keto meal, I'm gonna use these sardines in Louisiana hot sauce. I'm gonna use some of these hamburger dill chips. I'm gonna use a can of this white albacore tuna, and it's in water, which is nice, instead of seed oil, because there's a little bit of that in the mayonnaise. I'm gonna use some mayonnaise, and because those sardines were in hot sauce, I'm gonna use this complete seasoning. So I'm gonna get all the ingredients together and show you what I'm gonna do. So for this dish, I'm just gonna take these sardines out of the hot sauce. You can leave as much or as little of the hot sauce in there as you want. Don't want it too soupy, so I'm gonna leave a good bit in there. I've drained this can of tuna, so I'm just gonna put it in a container. I'm gonna go ahead and add in about a tablespoon of that mayonnaise. I'm gonna chop up the sardines. And I'm gonna chop up the pickles. Now you're starting to notice a theme with some of these. If you're on a budget, you can do a lot with just a meat, some mayonnaise, some seasonings, and a few simple, cheap ingredients. So I'm just going to add this into this glass container. I'm going to add some of this seasoning to the top. And do that to taste, and then just mix this up. Work that mayonnaise all through it, and you've got a protein-packed, super cheap keto meal. Now don't tell me you can't afford to do keto. If you used to go into McDonald's and spending $12 on a value meal, you can spend less than $3 on this. And now this next budget meal, you're gonna need some white chicken. You're gonna need some of these Chop House bites. That's gonna give us a little bit of spice in there too. You're gonna need some of that mayonnaise, some salt, and some black pepper. So let's put this together. Now for this quick and super easy keto meal, you're gonna need to add a drained can of chicken and steak bites. You're gonna need to add some mayonnaise and some salt and pepper. Then snap your fingers again, and it's mixed and ready for you to eat. Now if you want a little more than that, just add another can of chicken in. It's an extra $1.25. If you need that to help you stay full until your next meal, add it on in, or do the jerky. Either way, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Now for this next Dollar Tree meal, you're gonna need this bacon, you're gonna need this sausage. Now this technique is an ancient secret that's been lost over time, but basically what you do is you're gonna throw your bacon in there, and you're gonna need to lay the sausage on there on each one of the four corners. If you can see that, very important to this technique.
And then all you have to do is count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, snap your fingers.
And so just like that, it's done. Can you see that? See how good that came out? Now if you want to know the ancient technique, leave me a comment down below and let me know. I'm waiting, still waiting. Or give me a like. I'm just kidding. What I really did was put all 4 pieces of the sausage on the microwave bacon grill, along with all the bacon, and I microwaved it for 7 minutes. And I flipped them all halfway through. So I'm all the way to the end of this 84 hours and realized I didn't even eat my Steakums, the most expensive thing that I bought. So I think I'm gonna splurge tomorrow to celebrate this. I'll go get myself a bell pepper and an onion and some really good cheese, make a Philly cheesesteak bowl. Well, the 84 hours is over. I survived. I know some of you are wondering about that, but it was actually really good, and it was really a reminder that you don't have to have the fanciest foods to do keto. You can do keto on any budget. I don't care what it is. I did this for about the price of 2 fast food meals. and it was 4 days worth of food. So if you don't mind a little time in the kitchen and you want to save some money, this is for you. If you didn't see the video about how I do the steak, I'm putting it right here also. How I turn a $1.25 steak into a fancy steakhouse dinner. So check that one out next. I'm going to put another video at the end too that I think you'll like. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.